Hey David,
Hello,
how's it going?
I'm good.
Good, good, good. Welcome to PMM Perspectives. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And just for those watching, I have a cough drop. I'm recovering from a cold, so apologies if you see me sort of like moving my mouth, but that's what it is. I'm excited to chat with you today, and we can kick it off. Just brief introduction, your name, where you're located, and then where your role is now and sort of what you're doing there.
For sure. Yeah, so my name is David Lim. I currently live in New York City. I think the last time I may have hung out with the PMM crew, I might have been in California, so I moved around quite a
Nice.
bit. I've been doing product marketing for about 10 years, both in
Amazing.
a B2B and B2C space. Right now, I work for a company called Brivo, which is a security company. We mainly focus on IoT products. So you think of if you go to any sort of retail store, or if you go into a mall or into a apartment complex, you might run into either one or two things. They kind of like like a reader where you have to badge in to get into to the facility, or you look at a video surveillance camera. Those things may be coming from us. And I currently work remote, which is cool. I'm currently a senior product marketing manager there. But what is interesting is with our current solution today, we focus on so many different audiences, from the enterprise space, the retail space, also health, or the wholesale space. My focus is actually on the multifamily audience. So, if you're a property owner, property manager, if you're a, real estate investment firm, those are the people that I'm interested in talking to. And then
Okay.
I'm also in charge of our mobile solutions, which is everyone and everyone.
Yeah. And is there any specific area of product marketing that you're focused on? I know at different companies it can mean so many different things. So I'm curious what your focus is.
No, I mean, what is great about working at, I mean, we're not a startup, we're more a mid-sized company, but we still operate pretty agile. So, in terms of the marketing practices, we handle the whole gamut. So, on one day, I'll be focused on market intelligence and customer research. Then other days, I'll be focused on just that having my influence in and listening to music, and then basically focusing on messaging work, positioning work, narratives. And then on the other half of it, we just had a big May release launch. So working closely with the product team on making sure that the new features and updates that they have coming out, that we're basically showcasing that.
Awesome. Great. Thanks for sharing all of that. And, one of the reasons why we invited you to PMM Perspectives is because you contributed to our cookbook. And I think your section was around how marketing really starts with product marketing. So I'd love to
Mm-hmm.
hear your perspective on that and, you know, why you chose to contribute that specifically to the cookbook.
Of course, yeah. And for those of you that are just listening, if you haven't read the PMM Cookbook, I highly recommend that you do it. But yeah, in my system specifically, I just mentioned that, Americans are exposed to around 4,000 to 10,000 ads each day. And that's like a lot of noise going on for one
Mm,
person. So running like just a regular Facebook ad campaign or Instagram campaign, like it's gonna be hard for it to like stick around for someone today. It might have worked 5, 10 years ago where they might have been like less noise, but today that's really not the case. And what's great about prep marketing and terms of like strategies today, what can really help kind of distinguish yourself from the noise, or like differentiate yourself or stand out, is the fact that like prep marketing candidate, you really focus on that niche and that focus. So like if you have a solution and at the like the strategies really help target who that solution is for. And then
mhm.
once you identify that like who, then you can come up with marketing strategies that really stand out, right? So yeah, we can talk about Facebook ads, and we can talk about Instagram ads, we can talk about like blog posts, but it's like what really comes down to marketing strategies is like who they identify, who's our target on a Flip's product, and then it's like, okay, like If I know, like for example, at Brivo, I know that we want to target property managers, right?
Mm.
So I'm talking to property managers all the time, and I'm like, okay, well, where do they go to learn? What sort of publications do they, read on a daily basis, right? I'm sure some people have heard of like Retail Brew, right, or Morning Brew, right? We know that for its like marketers, we know that for its product people. So if you're building out a funnel with that basically are these those kind of audiences, you may want to consider like doing a sponsorship for them more, right? And those are things that truck marketers do is we really identify, just how where people go to learn, and that kind of really helps you expand your marketing strategy to very specific niche audiences. And I think that's kind of really, really important because otherwise, if you just do what, the typical GTM motion, let's talk about ads or SEM, even SEM these days, it comes down to like keywords specific to the audience, right? So like if you're looking for a security solution like Brivo, what sort of terms are those kind of the property managers typing in, right? If you just keep it very broad, you're going to be, okay, flushed out by, all the other competitors.
Totally. I'm hearing you say we really have to know our customers inside and out. And I feel like that's such a core piece of being a product marketer is knowing their language, knowing where they go for information, talking to them, being able to create messaging that's in their voice so that it really actually reaches them in a way that they want to consume.
Yep, and I think that's at the end of the day, that's what makes part of marketing a threat. I mean, I won't say really a threat, but more like an analyze. But
Analysis. Love this. Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's like if you're, and statistically, in regards to the PMS book, right? I see a lot of founders, when they basically, I mean, they technically are the product marketer at the end of the day. They know how to talk about their product. They know kind of who they want to target. But when it really just turns out really like painting it out and having it be really concise. That's for product marketing to come in and be like, hey, like, I'm gonna really thoroughly define who our audiences are and where they go to like play, where they go to learn, where they go to like find source solutions. You can't just be doing product kind of like, okay, like help people the best. That's not how campaigns should do these days.
Okay, so your first 30 days and it's Brivo. Am I saying that
Yes.
right?
Yes, here we go.
First 30 days at Brivo as a PMM, what steps did you take? Anything that you remember from the cookbook that you pulled from, and any advice that you'd give people in their first 30 days as a product marketer at a new company?
Yes, I mean, I think, the first 30 days really should be about learning, learning, learning. So learning from every angle, learning about the product and the product team, learning about the product from the marketing team, learning about obviously
Love that.
marketing strategies, GTM motion. But I would say the biggest thing is get on the phone, or maybe not the phone, get on Zoom, get on Google Hangouts, and start talking to some of the customers, right? And in some case, like for example, with Brivo, we're a fairly large organization where we don't often get on the phone with our customers. And we usually it's a little bit of sensitive topic depending on what company you're at. We usually sell
Sure.
something like don't talk to my don't talk
Yeah,
to
yeah.
high customers. But what is nice is sometimes they'll have customer reportings, right? So they'll use a tool like Chorus, where they'll have the conversations recorded. You can start filtering, by understanding like, okay, what are their goals, right? What are their, was there a competitor that was mentioned? So I would say if you can be ambitious and try and get on around 10 calls, start to identify any sort of pattern that you see. Really at the end of the day, like understand, like, look at their job title, try to listen for pain points and needs. And if you can understand our goals, I think there's two goals that you should look into. One would be looking into their, like, obviously, like their company goals, right? Right. Me as a property manager, or me as a product marketing manager, what is the goal that I'm accomplishing for my company? But at the end of the day, what is interesting that I found is really understanding their personal. This is not a Grivo, but a previous company. We looked into, what are your goals, not for the company, but just for, you as an individual. And I think a lot of people were kind of like, they tilt their heads a little bit and they're like, I'm going to get promoted, right? And that was a common theme that came up. This was specific to e-commerce managers.
Hmm.
They want to go from e-commerce manager to director of e-commerce. Some folks were, if they're founder, they're like, oh, I just want my name to be a household, like a household name, right? But once we started finding that out, we started using that into some of our marketing collateral and campaigns, right? So we had ads that like, do you want to like get, do you want to be promoted to director of e-commerce? Like, click here, right? And then we would take us to like our solution and landing page, where we would talk about like, hey, you can have a solution that provides higher conversion rate, makes you look good. And it was really, really interesting how it was the engagement that we were getting based off of just learning their personal goals.
Yeah, I mean, when we do persona workshops with our clients at Olivine, we talk a lot about goals and motivations beyond the product. So it sounds like, yeah, just really knowing your persona inside and out beyond how your product can support them, but really, exactly what you said. What are their goals personally, professionally, so that you could speak to them as humans? That's so important.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that I think I learned that from you guys too, actually, in a workshop where it was really, and again, this is no like marketing to all of that, but it's like if you really want to get down to the nitty-gritty of doing personas right, I highly recommend, figuring out a talk with all of my team. At the end of the day, if you really, it's about, getting behind this, like, I think people have a lot, like, the personas workshop stuff has like a bad rap. But when it's
mhm.
done right, and it's like, hey,
Girl.
like we're talking about the person, right? Like not just like this, like, oh, Joe the marketer, right? Like
Right,
these things
right,
that really don't help. I think that's when you see like okay, personas can actually be effective and very impactful. And that's what I think actually that's what I learned at all to my companies where it's like this is how we do product market or this is how we do persona work, how we understand how to be done and how do we really create change basically.
right. Awesome. Thank you. Any career advice for people who are either looking to move into product marketing or advance where they're at? Anything, any insights that you have?
I mean it's a tough market right now. I talked to a couple, maybe junior or folks that are trying to aspire to get into PMM. And I think I would just highly recommend one is to just really learn about all the different kind of responsibilities that go into product marketing. So this would be like positioning and messaging is probably at the core.
Mhm.
And I recommended actually the Alliance B2B messaging course,
Thank you.
because
Yeah,
it is free and it is a great
sure.
course to just get your footing, or your foundations, and then from there, I think taking courses from Winter, Laja, and she has a course that's actually fairly affordable as well, especially as a newer PMM that's trying to get into the space. He has a specific PMM course that you can take. So I would suggest that, and then from there, it's really understanding the other disciplines of from marketing, right? So there's competitive intel, there's pricing and packaging, which is obviously a little bit more vast, and then there's like DTF strategy, customer research, and it's really just understanding, okay, well, what areas do I really want to dive into, and maybe become specialized in. Because I think especially nowadays, I'm starting to see more PMM roles that go from more like full stack to like
Mhm.
more
Listen,
specialized. So I
yeah.
would say the more specialized you can get, and then just building out use cases and examples, right? You may not be working at a company, but maybe start looking at companies you're interested in. Like, for example, Riverside, this platform, right? Seeing what competitors are doing, right? And how this compares to Zoom or to some of the other competitors and what makes them different, right? By being able to showcase that, you'll be able to really be able to start to kind of have a more practical example of your product marketing work. And then if there's something that you're really interested in, you can maybe reach out to the director and be like, hey, I built this out, just for you to see. Really, really interested in the company and kind of see where that goes. But at this point in time, I think you can't just apply. You gotta stand out, and standing out really means going above and building something. And I do know, like, when I was a director at my previous companies, the people that really stood out were the ones that kind of went the extra mile and showcased some of their work.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Some of what you said, being specialized, product marketing being this, this sort of this big thing that you could really pull pieces from and become an expert in, it kind of leads us into the next question, which is cross collaboration. With those different areas of product marketing, you're going to be working with so many different teams within an organization. How do you, as a marketer, work to have really effective and successful cross collaboration within Brivio?
That is the ongoing battle, I think, for any PMN. It is really just being able to just have that cross collaboration. Um, but yeah, when it comes to cross collaboration, it really just starts with aligning with the different teams, understanding, their key stakeholders, their key needs as well, and then just really understanding their processes that is really going to be helpful, just to help kind of align things. Because once you understand a little bit of their process and how they do things, you can kind of understand and work closely with them in terms of communication, in terms of like, okay, well, where can product marketing come into the picture? And really, at the end of the day, it starts with going. I would say product marketing needs to be in as early as possible. That way, and I think Ray actually does has a great example around this, like MVP, which is most of us consider as like minimal like viable product, but then there's also like the minimal viable messaging or something like that. I think that's what she referred to it. And that really goes to like, as the PM is building out the MVP, the PM should be focusing on like the product story, right? And then from there, we can also test that messaging, that product story, to see if there's anyone that's kind of resonating or kind of interested in sort of the problem that we're stating in the product story. And if we see that, then we know that we're maybe going in the right direction. And this is great because we can get in as much earlier into the process, and kind of test and validate even before the product is even built. So I think it really, in terms of cross collaboration, it really just starts with understanding like the other teams, their process, their key stakeholders, some of their pain points, and then product marketing, not just shoving their way in, but it's like, okay, how do we find a way to integrate and to basically, again, be an ally, right? It's like, we're here to like not be a nuisance, but we're here to like support and to complement what you're doing.
And then, with all of that, two questions here. How do you measure your success as a partner within your organization? And then how are you measuring success, or what kind of KPIs are you looking at as a product marketer just on your own team?
Yeah, I mean, I think metrics for any PMM at the end, they really has to come down to revenue. I think especially in these days, right, with like the market being the way how tough it is, it's like, it's not about like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want to, but it's like views and fits are great, but at the end of the day, what really is going to make a product marketing a threat is really being able to see the revenue, right? And that could technically be like lead pipeline, right? So sales pipeline revenue, and then it could just be close one, right? So one area that I do know a lot of PMMs focus on is win rate. So obviously before PMM is involved, they'll look at kind of how sales teams are performing today, right? Without PMM, it's like, okay, this is their close to win rate ratio in terms of a deal. And then once a PMM comes in, about sales enablement material, polishes their narrative, their pitch, and then from there, the core actor seeing how will the impact. And usually we are more impactful because we can analyze and review some of their previous pitches. We can also see some of the questions that the prospects asked, and get ahead of that, right? So if they're asking like, okay, well, how do you guys compare to this other solution? We can really get ahead of that and, provide either a little slide or a little one sheeter that's like, okay, if you want to learn a little bit more about how we differentiate, like, here we go. And then at the end of the day, it's like, even from the deals that we've lost at, like, you got to get on a call with those guys that have, that we've lost with, either through an incentive or if they're just open to it, and then understanding why they went with the other solution. That way we can go back to either the product team or the sales team and let them know, hey, this is the reason why we didn't win. And I have a solution or a way that we can address that.
Great. I just had something in my mind and I think I lost it. I think, you mentioned, I'm curious about this. Are you guys doing a lot of one-pagers these days? I feel like
We are.
you are.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I was on LinkedIn and I was, I saw a director of content just talking about how one-pagers, white papers, like all of these things that we've done for so many years are being replaced with video, which I totally get it. It's way more engaging. So I'm always curious what people are doing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it really depends on the audience that you're
Yeah, for
you're
sure.
targeting towards. Ours tends to be a little bit of an older audience, and they prefer the old school method where, at the end of the call, they're like, "Hey, could you send us like a one sheeter?" We got a
Really?
couple videos here and there, so we're starting to like dabble into that a little bit more. So at the end, of the day, it really depends on it really depends on the audience. I agree. I think bite size, like stackable videos are the way to go. They actually work better, with SaaS solutions as well. Ours is like a combo SaaS and physical device solution, so it's a little bit,
Makes sense.
it's a little
Yeah.
bit harder. So,
That's physical device plus SaaS solution makes sense that your audience also is accustomed to,
yep.
an actual one pager, something like that, different audiences.
And when it comes to like solution sheets or one pagers or PDF files, I do think what could help is using a tool like HighSpot or Seismic, right? Where from there you can actually see the engagement or you could see the click-through rates and seeing how it's performing for the sales teams as well as even from customer end users once they receive it. And those are things that could just help down the road, right? Because from there you can see, okay, is this document that we've created actually getting downloads? And if it's not, then you'll start to see like, okay, maybe one pagers shouldn't be part of the deliverables or GTM motion at the end of the day.
Final question. Obviously, product marketing, being a product marketer, it's a combination of being very tactical and very strategic. So tell me about how you find balance there.
And being tactical and strategic. Well, at the end of the day, with a mid-sized company, you're doing it all. So,
Yeah.
I definitely think starting off, and I think what's weird about being a PMM or just being any marketing professional, like it really is about kind of testing, tweaking, and optimizing. So, we'll start out with like the regular GTM motion that we are used to today. And then we'll launch the product. We'll kind of reiterate. So from there, we'll do like a postmortem. We'll see how it's done. We'll see, areas of improvement, areas of opportunity. And then from there, we'll just continue to add on top of that. And then also maybe remove, right, things that may not work. So I think from there, it's not about like doing it all. Like it's not like, okay, I think so many people are used to the regular GTM motion of like, okay, we have to do an email campaign, we have to create a video, we have to create these one sheeters. But after you do a launch, you'll start to see, okay, like not a lot of people are really engaging with the PDF. Yeah, after you do the launch, you'll be able to just kind of review how the performance of it, and you'll be able to review like how the how your PDFs did, like how your email campaigns did, how much traffic you're getting on the landing pages. And then from there, you can actually see like, okay, some areas are getting, more engagement than others. And those are things that you should consider and be like, okay, should we consider still having this for a future launch or we should remove it? And that way you can constantly like polish your tactics and your strategy. And then from there, just at the end of the day, again, your whole campaign, your whole strategy shouldn't be like this whole like huge deliverable, right? It should be like a few things that probably are really impactful. And that way, I think for me, I'm able to balance that because it's not like we're doing everything. It's not like every single campaign is like, hey, we have to create a video for this. And this is kind of why also PMMs have tiers, right? Like, is this a tier 1 launch? Is this tier 2 launch or tier 3? And usually, depending on the tier, you'll have different deliverables. But yeah, I think that's how I'm able to balance.
So you guys have a process now where you prioritize basically what you're going to include in each launch. Great.
Yep.
That's good to tell. And then final question around this. Are you getting, when you're getting tons of requests from sales, how do you prioritize some of that, whether it's collateral or, any requests that you're getting? Do you have a way to prioritize that internally? Is that a separate team?
Yeah, I mean, it is our team, and it really just comes down to business outcomes. Like, if we build this out, what's it gonna do, right?
Totally.
And, it could be as simple as like, okay, if you build this out, we could win this $1 billion contract. And then you're like, okay, right? But then the other one is basically like, okay, well, we have 10 customers that are asking for the same thing.
Right.
So, from there, it's, my team, will prioritize.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, David. And yeah, we appreciate you coming on so much and sharing your experience with Olivine, sharing your experience with where you are now. And anything
Yes.
else you want to leave us with?
No, I mean, thanks for having me. Really great. And again, if you guys haven't, looked into all of Angelus, go ahead and check it out. Check out the PMM Cookbook. And then also, if you're really interested in PMM, I would highly recommend the B2B messaging course. That's a great first step in signing up.
Thank you. David's our biggest fan. Well, have a great day. And yeah, we'll chat soon.
Yep, you too. Have a good one. Safe.
Bye.